Hey, what is happening, YouTube? This is Hayes Anderson, and today we're going to be talking about string synthesizers. My very first string synthesizer was the Waldorf Streichfett, and we're going to listen to it real quickly. I'm going to use my VC340 to just run MIDI to it. And let's apply a little phaser to it. Okay, not so bad. My second string synthesizer was the VC340, so let's take a quick listen to it. And we can apply a little phaser now. And now I'm happy to say that I finally own a Behringer Solina, and this is by far my favorite string synthesizer. So first, let's check out what is up with the modulation and the phaser, because this really is where all the magic lies. With the phaser, and we do notice a noticeable volume drop. We can deal with that, of course, with a compressor. Let's try the clone that it actually is inside of the Solina. I find that it is a little bit richer. One thing that we can see for sure is that this thing goes way faster. But for the most part, it behaves exactly the same as the VP-1, which is a clone of the Electro-Harmonix small stone. So now let's check out the modulation. And this truly is where the magic lies. Crazy stuff. You can just get lost immediately. Now what I want to do is I want to show how this modulation so far for me is very, very special and unique. I have yet to try to be able to recreate it with any of my other pedals. The closest thing that I have so far, I think, is my Mr. Black Vintage Ensemble, which is in stereo. Let's listen to it first. Let's listen again to the modulation in the Solina. Such a difference. And now the Mr. Black. It's just not quite the same thing. Very awesome. And with the phaser, and now let's try the VP-1. It is definitely more pronounced. But like the Solina, you can only change the tone or the color, which this just kind of cuts back some of the high-end frequencies, I think, which are being phase shifted. Okay, I'm just now noticing this, but I feel like the color switch is in reverse. Maybe your Solina will be different than mine, but let's test this out real quick. That was down, this is up. Now the VP-1, that's down. And this is up. Sounds like the reversed to me. I hate to make such a claim, but hey, maybe I'm wrong. Let's move on. So from here, what I want to do is we're going to go ahead and remove the Mr. Black Vintage Ensemble, because we've determined, at least from my arsenal, that I really can't match the modulation. But what I want to do next is I want to go through various different phasers just to see what all we can hear. Next up is the actual Electro-Harmonix small stone, the Nano version. We're also going to test out the bad stone, another Nano version, but let's start out with the phaser on the string ensemble Solina. We have to be very careful here because we have a big volume drop, so I'm going to take the volume down when I engage the next phasers. Now in the down position, it's said to be a more robust full sound. In the up position, it sort of carves through the, excuse me, I can't talk right now. It carves through the frequencies. And I was able to confirm my Solina, the color switch is backwards. I don't know why. And what is interesting is that on the original small stone, it is called a color switch, not a tone switch like the VP-1. Very, very interesting. So let's try the color switch in the down position on the Solina. And now let's move on to the bad stone. The bad stone is a little different. It has a feedback control as well as a manual control if you choose. So the feedback gives a lot of wild modulation, it pronounces the phase shifting very, very much. And the rate gets crazy, crazy, crazy fast, almost into audio range, probably into audio range. Now let's try with the manual control. And as you can probably imagine, if you had the control of both hands, you can actually do a lot of wild stuff with this. But let's move on. Robert Kelly's Bubbletron is a filter, phaser, and flanger, and it is just a gorgeous sounding phaser. The Worm is another great phaser by Electro-Harmonix. It also features a wah, tremolo, and vibrato setting. The one thing to look out for is that it takes 24 volts to power. This extra voltage, however, translates to headroom, which means that I can actually now turn the Solina up a little bit more than I have been with the other phasers. The Worm also features a manual, which you can also have controlled by an expression pedal. The Twin Lasers by Mr. Black is a 4-stage and 6-stage phaser that is also available in stereo. So that was 4 stages, here's 6 stages. And it features a preset that you can recall. Another feature of the Twin Lasers is the ability to take one of the outputs back into one of the inputs to increase the number of stages. And next up is the Behringer Dual Phase. This is very similar to the Twin Lasers. It will do stereo effects, and what is neat about this is that it has the option to route the output of A into the input of B, which is kind of essentially what I did with the mono example. So let's just kind of move on. We will notice a volume drop though as I engage the phaser. So I'm going to turn it up. And we can control the shape. As well as the feedback. And this is a very full-featured phaser. We do not have time to go over all the features, but this is great. And big things do indeed come in little packages. This is the Hotone Phaze. Next up is the Dreadbox Lethargy, and it is super amazingly special. Next up is the Lightning Wave Astro. This thing is super special. I don't even know how to begin to describe it. It deserves a video all on its own. check this out. This thing essentially lets you draw your own waveforms. So I think I'm recording one right now. I'm not quite sure. I can't remember if it records when it's in the red or not. And then we come over to blue, and I think. So that is essentially modulating on the waveform that I drew just then against some clock. And then we can also I think that's a pretty good phaser. And finally, we look at some digital zoom pedals. This is a pedal I think that everybody here should have. It's the multi-stomp, and this is the warp phaser. It's pretty silly, but there it is. This also features the phase delay. This also features digital clones of the small stone and the bad stone. Moving over here is another pedal I think everybody should have if you can't afford the multi-stomp. This is a little bit cheaper. Sometimes you can get these for about 50 bucks if you look around. And this has just a regular phaser. And it's actually very nice because we can change 4 different styles. We have a 4-stage and 8-stage, and the inverse of each one. And then this also has the dual phase. And if we're so inclined, we can try to add an ensemble before the phaser, just like the Solina does. I'm going to disengage the Solina's ensemble. And it's just not quite the same thing. All right, well, thank you very much for hanging out with me. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.